The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome in. This is FST. It's Fantasy Sports Today. My name's Matt Stryker. His name is George Kurtz, and this is the place for everyone that's getting ready to draft, or maybe you already have. If you want to dominate your season-long fantasy baseball, we've got you covered. You're still playing DFS? We won't let you leave money on the table. And straight-up wagering? That's my bag, baby. All right, folks, at SportsGrid and at SportsGrid TV, those are our social media handles as I make antiquated references. Let's bring in the one and only George Kurtz. George, for those that don't know, you are a fantasy baseball and wagering veteran. You've been playing fantasy baseball and fantasy sports for well over 3 decades, wagering on sports, doing it successfully. So what we've done here today for everyone that's about to draft is we've done something called Drafting with George Kurtz. How about that for an exciting title? George, I'm going to tell you a position, players going around a particular spot, and you tell me, with your years of experience, if you're going to draft these players, which one you like. Are you ready, sir?
Well, we're going to find out now, aren't we?
There he is, folks. Get used to more of that. That's the humor right there. Okay, let's start the catcher position here. I'm going to give you 3 players here. I'll give you their ADP. Let's assume it's a 12-team, 5x5 category league, okay? So the 75th player off the board is Yanier Diaz from the Astros. He has catcher and first base eligibility. Projected to hit about 280, maybe 20 home runs. 89 is Cal Riley, Seattle, I can't speak. 227, 30 home runs. And then 106 is Will Smith. And this is where I really want to focus. From the Dodgers, he'll hit 250 and hit 19 home runs, but I think most people just want to be a part of that offensive ecosystem. Out of those 3 guys, who are you drafting and why?
All right. Now, some of this comes down to draft philosophy. I hate catchers. All right. And I don't say that to be funny, by the way. I don't draft. You'll never see me draft. I never had Buster Posey, Mike Piazza back in the hell, Johnny Bench. Really had guys like this back in the day because catching is a brutal position. All right. You're going to crouch a million times during the season in heat, 100-degree heat. You get hit with foul balls. You get hit with bats. Back in the day, you used to get hit with runners. I guess you still do to a degree nowadays. Your hands are getting beat up. All right, all the time. It's going to be tough to grip that bat over and over. So I don't draft catchers early. I just don't. And I mentioned earlier, if you're playing in a 2-catcher league, you should be shot. The commissioner should be shot. Who set the rules not to be shot? All right, there's no reason to play in 2 catcher leagues. Can't stand it. Even though that was the standard at one point, not really anymore here. So I stay away from catchers. So what I'm trying to tell you is, Yanni Diaz, 75, ain't happening. I'm not drafting him in round 6, top of round 7 there. Look at a little quick math for you. Listen, I love Cal Raleigh. What'd you say earlier? He's going to get to 30 home runs? I agree.
Yeah.
All right, he may be their best hitter outside of Julio Rodriguez on that team. Average is going to hurt you, but the home runs are there. Will Smith, yeah, I would love to have him on my team. It's not going to happen. All right, I'm not going to have Contreras. I'm not going to have Adley Rushman. I'm not going to have any of these 3 guys. I'm going to have the lower guys. Austin Wells is someone I'm targeting because I think he's going to have a big season. I'm going to have the lower 6 catchers. By the way, anybody who's drafting 2 catchers when it's a 1-catcher league, you deserve to be shot too.
Yep.
Yes.
There's a lot of
They
violent,
shot
violent
as well.
George.
Maybe
That's the
tarred
segment,
feathered.
folks.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I prefer.
No, I stay away. I stay away from catchers. Immensely stay away from catchers.
All right, fair enough. And I like that. I like that we've started there because it gives a good philosophy for people going into their drafts. Let's go a little deeper now. Let's talk first baseman, and let's break this down here. So your first baseman off the board, I'm going to give you 2 guys here, and I'm a big position eligibility guy. The first guy is at 15, is Vlad Guerrero. Contract year, eligible for first and third. Should hit 295, give you over 30 home runs. Or Pete Alonso for the Mets, 38, 240, maybe 35 home runs. Which first baseman you taking and why?
First base is extremely shallow. All right. Guerrero, Harper, Freeman, Olson, Alonso. That's it. After that, you got a whole bunch of second, third tier guys here. I do, when I go to my draft strategy, I do want to clear certain positions who I don't want to be looking, oh, I hate this first baseman all year long. So I am looking to get one of those top 5 first basemen. I've been either mock drafting or drafting, for real since November. All right, this is what we do. First base, you see these guys climb way up here. Guerrero at ADP 15, I'm seeing him go in the bottom of the first round now. Because what the people are expecting big things, contract year, Toronto, small ballpark, all that. And I sort of agree with it. I don't know if I would take him before double digits, so forward pick 10, 11, 12 here. But I want Guerrero. I'm not afraid to go out and grab him. Alonso, listen, if you give me a choice of these 2, I'm taking Alonso. I'll take the ADP in the 4th round here because he's going in round 3 now. Once again, he's climbing up. The ADPs gives you an average of how long you put it in here. But it also, you don't know if the players are climbing up or going down. You got to watch those little, either the red arrow or the green arrow. Alonso's going up. All right. Once again, Mets going to score 1,000 runs here. For these 2 choices, I'm taking Alonso here, but you can't get him in round 4 anymore.
All right, continuing at this pace, again with a choice. Yanier Diaz, there's that position eligibility again. If you wanted to grab a catcher, you can also play first base, hit 280 and 20 home runs. Or, George, you can wait to 85 and grab Cody Bellinger. First base outfield eligibility will give you double digits in homers and steals and hit you 260. Which one and why?
Bellinger's batting over 400, 465 this spring. He's not going to do that during the regular season. I'm on Bellinger. All right, outfield, we start 5 outfielders. Once again, you do the quick math here, 5 times 12. That's 60 outfielders, and you need outfielders for your utility. Listen, there's 30 baseball teams, 3 outfielders, that's 90. Every outfielder is going to be drafted. All right, anybody who's starting is going to get drafted here. I think Bellinger's going to have a good, I'm not an MVP season, but a good season. He's batting behind Judge here. That should help. A lot of fastballs with Judge on first base here. Give me Bellinger here. I think he's going to outplay. I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm over his 20 and a half home runs this year. He should hit that by mistake at Yankee Stadium.
I hope there aren't too many mistakes at the stadium. Yeah, I think he's projected for 23 home runs. Bellinger is 12 stolen bases. All right, a next grouping of first basemen here, right around 108 and 114 respectively. Tristan Casas for Baltimore. He'll hit 247 and should approach 30 home runs, maybe 27. Or Jake Berger gives you first base and third base eligibility on that Texas Rangers team that people believe are going to score a lot of runs. Berger will hit 240 and give you over 30 home runs. George, which one and why?
I kind of believe in both guys here. That Casas will be that guy. That being said, Berger's done it before. Now, and he's done it, by the way, Miami, where we know that ballpark's the Grand Canyon, right? Tough to get it out there. Texas isn't exactly a hitter's paradise either here, but Berger's done it before. I probably trust him a little bit more. Also going to hit higher in the lineup in Texas than what Casas is going to do in Boston here. Listen, I'm not going to complain about either one. They're both about the same. You're not getting any advantage here. All right, they're both drafted in about the same round here. So what would it come down to is me, hey, if I'm going to draft and Matt took Casas, all right, I'll take Berger. Or if Matt took Berger, I'll take Casas. I think it's about even here. If you're going to ask me which one, I would go. I think the tiebreaker would be Berger. Little position flexibility there, right? Can put him at third base if I need to, so we'll see how that works out. But I bet you're probably putting him at first. First is just more shallow.
Yep. All right. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk second base and shortstop with the legendary George Kurtz. He's been playing fantasy sports for over 3 decades. George, with the time you have remaining in this segment, what is the most that you will reach for a player, and what drives that desire?
I mean, listen, they're all players that we want. When I go through a trip, the players I put in my queue, they're not the top players. Or I can find those players. I put players in a queue that I don't want to forget about. I think big things are going to happen for that, or maybe the ADP is all screwed up on. I'll highlight those players. If I'm using paper, I'll highlight. If I'm putting it in my queue online, I put it in my queue here. So that's how I look at players here. And I keep an eye. I look at position, like I said, first base is shallow, second base shallow. I don't like, Matt, looking at my team all year long going, I can't believe this is my first. I hate this guy. It makes me mad. So if I don't like that, then that's why I'm drafting a first baseman in the second round of almost every fantasy league. First round's BPA, second round is almost always first base because I don't want to. I like Yandy Diaz, but I don't want him to be my first baseman all year long. You're a Pasquantino. They're corner infielders. They're not first baseman. So that's a big thing I look at here. First base, second base. There just aren't a lot out there.
All right, that's the nugget of wisdom that we got in this segment from the legendary George Kurtz. On the other side, as I mentioned, we'll talk second base and shortstop. I'm sure there'll be plenty of nuggets of wisdom. There might be an expletive or two that flies, but that's why we love George, and that's why you watch SportsGrid, folks. More FST when we come back.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sport.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports Today. Matt and George with you here. Having an absolutely great time. I think it is because spring has sprung, baseball is in the air, and it's just something that stirs inside of young men and women absolutely everywhere. And I can't describe it. I know I don't have to. Wherever you are, you're nodding your head. All right, George, let's nod our head over to you, but not to headbutt you, but let's get into your mind a little bit. Drafting with George, drafting with Kurtz. Let's go to the second base position, George, and let's just pretend that you have a choice. Now, I understand that this player, Mookie Betts, is the 10th player off the board, and then the next player I'm going to mention is almost the 100th player off the board, but stay with me. Mookie Betts has position eligibility of second base, shortstop, and outfield. Makes him incredibly valuable to me, not to mention a 280 batting average, 28 home runs, and 15 bags as a projection. But if you miss Mookie Betts, Matt McLain, second base and shortstop, gets you in that Reds offensive ecosystem, should hit about 250, 23 home runs, 18 bags. If you miss Betts, are you tapping McLain at 96?
I like Matt McLain. All right, he plays in the Great American Small Park there. I think the Reds are going to be a better offensive team this season here. And listen, Betts is one of my favorite players in baseball. All right, when the Red Sox traded him, I was like, "What are you doing?" This is the guy you build your organization around, Mookie Betts. All right, now I mentioned he did lose 15 pounds. Right, so there is some worry here that he could get up to a slow start this season. And you said it. The difference here is that Mookie you're taking 6th overall. McLain you're taking around 8, round 9. That's a huge difference here for guys who are going to give you similar numbers here. Betts' numbers are going to be better. All right, they are going to be better, but maybe not 8-round difference. So, yeah, if I missed out on Betts for whatever reason, or I'm shying away, and I mentioned in my latest draft, I did shy away from Betts. I have a lot of shares of him already anyway, but in my latest draft, I wasn't taking him at 6 overall. I think I want to say he went around 8-9, so he dropped a couple of spots, not massive, but at 6 stayed away. I wasn't taking the shot here. I think I took Lindor instead. So if you miss out on him, you want to wait on shortstop a while, I have no problem with Matt McLain. No problem at all here. I mentioned earlier, shortstop is deep as all get out here. And McLain plays second base. Second base is not deep. That's what I really like. He'd be my second baseman, not my shortstop.
Smart. That's what I'm driving for here. I hope everyone's listening here. Just because you need a position, look at position eligibility. Just because that guy doesn't play that position every day in real life doesn't mean you can't slot him there. All right, now let's say you missed out on those two, Betts and McLain respectively, and you find yourself looking at Garcia from Washington is going to hit 270, flirt with 2020. Luis Ariz, position eligibility, 1st and 2nd. They say he's going to hit 307. I think that's a joke. I think he's going to hit far more than that. Or Andres Gimenez, be a part of Toronto's offensive ecosystem, going to hit 260, 14 homers, nearly 30 stolen bases. Which one are you choosing there?
I said Luis Arias is someone I'm probably looking at here because, and once again, this is a fantasy purpose because I want to protect my average. Actually, I want to more than protect my average. I want to raise my average. You take Arias, and I agree with you, by the way, 307 is light. I'd probably give that 320s, and that's even that I think might be light.
People forget that he flirted with 400.
Yeah. And I like, because once again, that allows me now to draft a couple of players that are going to bat 230, 240, and I'm okay. Because Arias is going to build that up. So, and by the way, once again, Arias is more than likely my second baseman. You plug him in there, you take care of your average category. It's a weak position anyway, and I don't have to worry about it anymore, and I can draft a little freer. When I go into a draft, I don't know how you approach it, Matt, but if you're in a league that's been around for more than a couple of years, for the counting categories, you could do, all right, how many home runs does it take to win this category? Home runs, stolen bases, all the counting categories, wins. Okay, I know from years past, do the average here, it's going to take 282 home runs to win that category. So every time I draft somebody, okay, I'm drafting Aaron Judge, he's going to hit 48 home runs. Now I need 234 home runs. That's how I go about it. All right, if you're playing a league you want to win, this is what you have to do. So I don't want to draft. If 282 home runs wins the category, I don't need to draft 512 home runs because I didn't do well here. All right, I need to draft about 300 home runs. I'll win the category, be top 3, and that's how I keep going about it here. Arias allows me to draft guys who more home run hitters but worse average. I'll be okay. I can make up for it. So that's how I'm going to approach this. I would take Arias out of these guys. Jimenez is my next choice. Those numbers you're looking at here, remember. Those are Cleveland numbers, all right? Bad ballpark. Toronto's a bandbox. Not that he's going to become a home run hitter here, but there's more doubles coming. More home runs are coming for him. He 14, maybe it's 17, 18 here. So Jimenez would be my pick outside of Garcia here because I'll take the once again the ADP value.
Folks, don't lose sight of the nugget there that George gave us, and I thought it was really good, is look at your league, look at the scoring, and just draft accordingly. Yeah, you may love player A, but he doesn't fall into the parameters of the league. I really love that, George, and I didn't want people to miss it. All right, let's move to shortstop. We've already extolled the virtues of Mookie Betts, but say you don't get him. At 41 sits Oniel Cruz, shortstop outfield eligibility. Projected to hit over 250, 26 home runs, 20 stolen bases. When this guy's healthy, I think he's one of the faces of the league. Talk to me about Oniel Cruz.
Yeah, no, I think once again, he's going to take that next step here. Now, listen, PNC is a beautiful ballpark, probably my favorite park that I've been to here, but it's a pitcher's park, a major pitcher's park here, and that hurts Cruz a little bit. This guy hits missiles. All right, if you're in a category for triples, he might win that for you, him and L.A. De La Cruz, right? So I think he does take that next step. Once again, his ADP of 41's probably it's going up to a third round here, and not up massively here. So if you want to, if you don't take bets, you don't get bets in round one for whatever reason here, O'Neal Cruz, your starting shortstop, outfielder, you're probably putting him at shortstop, but maybe he's your outfielder here. I have no issues with this whatsoever. You got a little 3-round value here. You got to field some other positions. I like bets better. I do. But I have no problem with O'Neal Cruz. And I think those numbers are about right. I think the stolen bases could be a tick higher here than 20. Maybe get you 25.
All right. Now, the importance of position eligibility, again, here we find ourselves with Matt McLain. If you miss Mookie Betts and you're trying to find a second base or shortstop, Matt McLain's the guy because here he is. Well, let's say you're not interested. I'm going to give you Bo Bichette at 117 or Anthony Volpe at 141. Bichette projected to hit 280, 18 homers, 10 stolen bases. Volpe 240, 18 homers, 20 stolen bases. Take us to the break, George.
Once again, if you've been listening to me, I think Bichette has a major bounce back season here. Free agent year, contract year. He could be gone by the deadline too if Toronto can't get these guys signed. I think Bichette is a major bounce back year. I am all over Bo Bichette. And by the way, he's the guy you can actually get a little later than this in a lot of drafts I've seen. They've been waiting around, but I think Bo Bichette's going to have I don't want to say monster season, but a really good season where I think he could be a league winner for you here. Volpe probably not staying away from with the Yankees here, and you can get. By the way, if you want Volpe, you can get him very, very late.
Nice. I like it. All right, I'm MC Search. He's Pete Nice. On the other side of the break, we're going and doing some third base. Or FST. Forget it.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today. Want to shout out and say thanks to everyone that's reaching out at SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV. We're having a great time doing it, so I'm glad that you guys are really enjoying it out there. We're running through position by position, looking at players, where they're going in drafts, and talking to 3-decade fantasy sport veteran George Kurtz on how would he approach these players. I think it's just such a marvelous resource ahead of drafts. Let's go to third base here now, if we will, George. We mentioned Vlad Guerrero has first base and third base eligibility. Let's say you miss out on Vlad Guerrero. The 87th player off the board is New York Mets third baseman Mark Vientos, slated to hit 250, about 33 home runs. Do you like Vientos right there at 87? Is he a player you're targeting at third base?
I think targeting might be a strong word. Now, one thing we have to take into consideration, you and I live in the New York area, means I'm playing in leagues with Mets fans, so Vientos is going a little earlier than that. Whether he should or not, that's an argument. I've already said several times during the show, I think the Mets are going to score a lot of runs this year. I mean, a lot of runs. And I think Vientos is going to be a part of that. So, yeah, I am on board with Vientos. I'm on board with Alonso. I'm on board with Soto. I'm on board with Lindor. Not on board with Nemo because of the injuries there. But the Mets are going to be a good offensive team. They are. I was on board with Alvarez before he suffered the hamate bone injury. So, yeah, I have no problem with Vientos being my starting third baseman. Third base, I think, is a little deeper than usual here. So I tend to wait a bit here. But as I said, I don't think I've gotten any shares of Vientos, and that's not because I'm staying away from him. It's because I live in New York, and I'm playing with Mets fans, and they're grabbing him probably a round earlier than I feel comfortable with.
Very interesting. You know, a lot of people play in public leagues. You don't know where other managers are from, but sometimes you get insight based off their name or their logo. So, George, another nugget there. Find out about the managers in your league before your draft, if you can. All right, let's say around 113, 166, you're presented with Jake Berger, first base, third base eligibility for Texas, slated to hit about 244, 32 home runs. Or Isaac Paredes, first base, third base for the Houston Astros, 244 and 25 home runs. Where are you going and why?
You know, one more thing that you said about knowing your league, by the way, which, by the way, is so important. Anybody who's been in a league for more than a couple of years, don't you always go, oh, you have that guy every year. Well, you know what? You should know that. You should know what team players like, what players they like. You. Oh, you always have them? Well, you should know, well, if you want that player, then you probably do have to draft them around earlier than you need to. So just keep that in mind here, because we all do that. You know, you have this guy every damn year. Should not put him on your team. We always make little jokes like that. Let's put him on your team before we draft. We know you're drafting him. So you should know that if you want the player. Hey, by the way, you play the game. Talk the player up. Maybe you get him to take him around earlier than he wanted, because even though you had no intention of taking him, but you make him spend a little more money if you're in an auction, or go spend the round earlier here. Outside of Berger and Paredes here, once again, players I like. I already mentioned Berger. Yeah, I like Berger. All right, guy's going to hit 30 home runs. Average, I would love if I could say the average is not going to help you, but not going to hurt you either. Average is probably going to hurt you a little bit. I don't think it's going to hurt you massively, but it's going to hurt you a little bit. You're going for the power there, and probably putting him at third base. As far as Paredes, he does change teams here, but he gets to take a shot at those Crawford boxes. So no problem with him either. They're similar players here, more power for Berger. I think Paredes could get you a little bit better average, but not enough to make me change my thoughts on them. I'd rather have Berger.
George, let me dive into your mind a bit. For those that are just joining us, George has been playing fantasy sports for over 3 decades, wagering on sports for over 3 decades. So we're getting some wisdom here in a very special FST. George, when it comes to drafting, do you draft positions for categories? Like, from third base, I'm going to look to get my home runs. From outfield, I'm looking to get my stolen bases. Or do you go player by player? How do you approach it in 2025?
I go player by player. I know some people who do go what you said here. I want my power from the corner infielders. I want my stolen bases from this. I don't think you can go by that. No one knows how a draft is going to go. All right, listen, the first round, if I'm playing in a 12-team league, I write out my top 12 players, or whatever pick I'm picking in the first round. If I got the 8th pick, I'm writing out my top 8 players. And after that, I don't know how a draft's going to go, because people make picks like, wow, how'd that guy go in round 2? And I say it every draft, by the way. You know, we call it, when's the first, I call it the idiot pick. You know, when's someone taking Mike Trout in round 2? You know, that sort of thing here. So, no, but I do have to, for me, I say it all the time. I have problems with stolen bases. I always have to write it down. Draft stolen bases. I tend to forget, or not forget, ignore taking guys just for speed.
All right, folks, the nuggets that we have received in each and every segment are so valuable. What I want to bring forward is write stuff down. I know we live in a day and age where everyone has a device, but writing things down has been proven by science to make a connection to the brain, and that will help you remember these things, even if you already have it in your device. So much more wisdom like that is on tap because we have George Kurtz for the rest of the hour, and there's so much more great programming after this. But stick around. We're going to go to the outfield with George after this.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, welcome back into FST, Fantasy Sports Today, where I promise you we are all mature adults when we are not on the air. I promise you we are. My name's Matt Stryker. His name's George Kurtz. Sam Y, the sports guy, and TD Jake behind the glass making this thing go. We're talking with George Kurtz, a guy that's been doing fantasy and wagering for over 3 decades, so the wisdom is just unmatched. George, we're going to go to the outfield now. We're going to give you some players, tell you where they're going, and you'll tell me if you want them. All right, in the outfield, the 19th player totally off the board is Jackson Chourio. Projected hit 269, 24 home runs, 27 stolen bases. The 29th player off the board, maybe you've heard him, Ronald Acuna Jr. Projected hit 293 with 27 home runs and 46 stolen bases. George, I don't think you think he's hitting that. Chourio or Acuna at this point, and why?
First off, boys and girls, you can take the under on us acting mature in between segments here. It ain't happening. And neither is Acuna stealing 46 bases, by the way. That's not happening either. You've already heard Acuna tell us that he's not going to run with reckless abandon this season. You know, when someone tells you what they're going to do, we might want to believe them. Listen, I have a tough time, Matt, drafting players who are hurt. All right, he comes back with second ACL. I think he's going to be fine. Okay, I do, but I don't think he's running all that much. 46 stolen bases, I'll give you half that for the rest of the season. He's not going to play till mid-May. I think he's going to steal when it's necessary, not just for giggles, right? Not just to get a bag. So when it's necessary, you know, team's down a run, get in scoring position, sure. But other than that, I just don't think he's going to steal all that much. They want to keep him healthy and keep him healthy for the postseason, right? That's when the Braves want him here. The power should be there. All right. I think 25, 27 homes is about right, give or take here. Average, fine, good with it. He's going in about round four-ish, man, 29. That's middle of round 3. I'm not doing that. The guy is going to miss 30 baseball games. All right, at least. Maybe a little bit more here. So I'd be very cautious here. I'm not, for what he's going, I'm not drafting him in round 3. He lasts around 4, round 5, fine here. Churio in round 2, that's about where he should go here. I like both players here. I'm just not drafting a player who's coming off a major injury in round 4.
All right, I like it, and I'm with you, man, but I think Churio's the real deal, and we're going to find out. All right, George, check this out. As happens all the time in drafts, especially at this position outfield, within 17 picks are 3 outfielders, 2 of whom will give you 20-20 in home runs and stolen bases. 1 will flirt with perhaps 40 home runs. Where are we going? We're going Brent Rooker, 49th off the board, 259, 39 homers projected. James Wood, 264, 21 homers, 18 stolen bases. I think there's going to be more there. Or Lawrence Butler, 254, 26 home runs, 20 stolen bases. You can only have 1, George.
I am probably, for the ADP, I'm probably going to take Butler, mainly because I need bases. I already said I need bases. Power I can find here. Listen, I like all 3 players. I mentioned I like James Wood a lot, and I have him in a lot of leagues, including my home league, which is very important to me. All the leagues I play in, by the way, the home league is the one I care about the most. All right, I want to beat the crap out of my brother and all my friends here because they're going to give me crap. They beat me, so that's always the league I care about the most here. But Butler's a player we probably aren't giving enough love to. I said it earlier. They're playing in Sacramento now. The ball's going to fly out of that ballpark. Look at the stats there in the minors in that ballpark. It's a hitter's haven here. There's no more heavy marine layer. It's going to be traveling. It's great for Rooker as well here. It's why I think he might lead the American League in home runs, which shocked me. I wouldn't be surprised if Rooker hits 50 plus, by the way, not in the least here. But Butler, because I need bases, he's someone I'm going to be paying attention to. And I think the 20 is light. That's really where I'm going. I think 20 is light here. I think this guy's also going to get 25 plus here. So for how I draft and how I am, I'd rather have Butler. But any one of these 3 players here. By the way, if I'm in a points league, I'd rather have Rooker. But if I'm playing in a categories league, which most leagues are here, give me Butler.
All right, I'm getting a text from our producer, Sam Y., the sports guy, an ardent Nationals fan, and he's saying, I want to fight George. Please set it up. Okay, no love given to James Wood. All right, we're going to do maybe next week George Kurz versus Sam Yarnell. Of course, it'll be for charity, bare knuckle, obviously. All right, 69 and 82 are the numbers that surround these next 2 outfielders. Anthony Santander, projected to hit 247, 35 home runs in his new digs in Toronto. Or Brian Reynolds, whom I think is baseball's best kept secret, sadly. Projected to hit 265, 22 home runs. He'll steal you 8 to 10 bags. George, where do you want to go and why?
Remember, Santander is Toronto. They brought, for whatever reason, a couple of years ago, they brought all those fences in, which was just stupid. So 35 home runs, he may hit more than that. Would chuck me. He gets over 40. I think you're going with Reynolds if you want a more well-rounded player. If you want to protect your average, which is about what he does, maybe even helps it a little bit, you're going Reynolds. You need a couple of stolen bases, you're going Reynolds. And, I think Reynolds could get you double digits, 10 stolen bases. Santander, if you get 1 or 2, you're lucky here. So it depends on what you're looking for when you're drafting these guys. Are you looking more for power? Well, then you're going to Santander. He's going to hit, like I said, 35, 40 home runs. Reynolds is more of your well-rounded player here. So I think that it just depends where you're looking for. What do you need? You need bags, you need average, you need home runs here. Me personally, I probably need the bags. Even though I like Santander, once again, a points thing, I'd rather have him. I probably need the bags here and the average. So I'm probably going Reynolds.
George Kurtz, you've been playing fantasy sports for over 3 decades. What would George Kurtz of today tell George Kurtz of when he started playing fantasy sports? Got the orange Mustang, the long hair. Genesis is blaring in the background. The room is filled with smoke. George, I smell smoke. There's no smoke up here, Mom. What would future George tell early George?
Well, the biggest difference for me in fantasy baseball, there's actually 2 differences. One, back in the day, we used to make a lot more trades, all right? It was so much fun making trades, right? Nowadays, and by the way, this is Matt's fault. This is my fault. It's because of all the talking heads, and we go, oh, you made that trade? You're an idiot. What are you thinking? You got smoked. Why didn't you talk to us before you made the trade? Everyone's afraid of losing a trade nowadays. That's we used to make 2-3 trades a week. It was always trading. Now you get very few trades. People are afraid of losing a trade. But the biggest difference as far as, I guess, drafting the moves, pitching was so much more important back in the day. All right, so much more important here. Now, what do we have? 7, 8 aces now, and some of those aren't even true aces here. It's more depth in pitching here. All right, we just don't have it anymore. Back then, you're talking the 90s. I guess was the big the heyday of playing fantasy. I mean, there were so many ace. Every team seemed to have one ace. Nowadays, we don't have that. We're drafting more hitters than anything else, right? And of course, the game has changed. Average was more a big thing. No one wanted to strike out back in the day. Nowadays, it's either hit a home run or no, we don't care what you do. An out's an out here. So those are the two biggest differences. The game is all towards power, and pitching is not as important.
Now, let me extend that here because we have some time. Interesting thought. How does that extend to your early season wagering strategy? How do you bet in April and May?
Carefully, all right, because once again, the game has changed, and we know the pitch is going to be protected here. So, I like my K props, but in April, how many pitches are you going to allow him to throw? Is he going to get 80 pitches, 100 pitches? You're going to go 5 innings, 6 innings? So K props you're going to be very careful about here. That's the only one I truly worry about. Home run, if you're playing, anytime home runs, whatever it is. Once again, you're playing him in Northeast here. It's cold. That bull's not going to travel here. I'm probably staying away from those. You won't see me playing an Aaron Judge home run prop when they play Milwaukee this weekend, right? Because once it's going to be cold here in New York. I think opening day is 48 degrees here, and that's for the day. By the time they start the game at 3, it's probably a tick or two below that here. So my home run props, let's look at the teams playing in domes or playing out west where it's warmer. We'll get a more accurate prediction there. So K props, home run props, I tend to stay away from. Let's let these pitchers build up some arm counts, then we can go back to our K props later on.
Yeah, I love it. I'm looking at plus money underdogs and home run props early in the season to build the bankroll, and also looking for unders. Like George said, it's April and guys are still getting acclimated. In a lot of these cold weather cities, it's hard to grip a bat, and it really hurts when you make bat on ball contact. But these are the early wagering strategies, and these are things that you need to implement in order to build the bankroll, because come Memorial Day, you want to be playing with the house money, and then you want to start to see how the lines move. All right, we are not done drafting with George. When we come back, we'll go starting pitching and relief pitching. And folks, George and I think we're in the same boat here, but some of the things we say may shock you. But then again, we're used to that because that's what we do. FST Fantasy Sports Today with Matt and George. More right after this.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today. Matt and George with you here. If you're just joining us, George Kurtz is a fantasy sports veteran, a wagering veteran, doing it for over 3 decades. When we have an opportunity to sit down in an extended format with a guy like George, that's called wisdom, folks, and we should never eschew wisdom. We're talking with George here, and we're giving him players, different ADPs, and asking him whom he'd rather. We're at the starting pitcher position now. 58th player off the board is Michael King from San Diego. He should get close to 200 strikeouts with a ERA, pitching to maybe a 3.4 ERA. And Shota Imanaga, 62nd player off the board, pitched to a 3.5 ERA, give you 174 strikeouts. George, whom would you rather and why?
I was going to like both guys here. Imanaga looked great in Tokyo Series there. I think he'll be fine again here. People get all worried about Wrigley. We sort of forget that the wind blows in much more often than it blows out at Wrigley. Yeah, when it's blowing out, okay, it's and listen, you check that. All right, wind's blowing out here. All right, not starting Imanaga that day. I'm not starting. I want to get all my bats in over. If you're betting, start betting some home run props and the over there. And I do check the wind. You have to. If it's blowing out here, you know it's going to be a lot of runs. Blowing in is the exact opposite of that. We take a bazooka to hit a home run there. So I like Imanaga a bunch here. That being said, Michael King. This guy may be your top free agent pitcher in Major League Baseball next offseason. Think about that for a second. He has become that good. He's got that sweeping curveball. I like King a little bit better than Imanaga, mainly from the strikeouts. You already mentioned that. He's going to get you about, 1 extra strikeout per start. It's really what he does here. But I have no problem with either guy here. And if the price was immensely different, in this case, it's not. The only difference of maybe half a round here. That's why I'll go with the King. If the price was a round, then I would take Imanaga. I'll take the better ADP here. But Michael King probably not getting as much love as he should.
You make him sound so fancy. Imanaga. I feel like he smells a lot better when you say his name. All right, so, win equity is another thing, too. Both the Cubs and Padres are poised to win games. Keeping that in mind, win equity, keeping in mind bullpens. Let's go to these next 2 pitchers, 100 and 102, respectively. Tanner Bybee of the Guardians, great bullpen. Will only have to pitch 6 innings, I would imagine. Get a good quality start. 3.6 ERA is a projection, 170 strikeouts. Or Freddie Peralta, you want strikeouts, there he is. He'll give you nearly 200, pitched to a 3.7 ERA. George, whom would you rather and why?
Once again, this is close. I'm not going to blame anybody for either one. I'm going to go with Tanner. The reason is pitchers ballpark in Cleveland, where Peralta pitches in a major hitters park with Milwaukee here. And I think there's more coming from Bybee. All right. I just think there's more. Once again, this is year 2 that his sort of announced it. I think he's got more to give. I think he's got more to give. I don't know how many more strikeouts. All right, he's going to reach 200. I doubt it, but I could see him getting the 185 range here. I think the ERA could come down a little bit. So I just think there's more. Peralta, we know what he's going to do. We see. You look at the back of his baseball card. Show my age there. Back of the baseball card. You know what he's going to do. He does the same thing every year, right? That's what veteran players do. You can look at you just know what they're going to do year in, year in, year in. The same thing always here. Whereas for Bybee, I think there's more to give here. I think he's got more to give us here. So I think there's a little bit more upside with Tanner. I'll take Bybee. Same price. I'll take Tanner.
All right. Now, when we talk about drafting starting pitchers, I'm always looking for win equity. Every time I look at a starting pitcher, my next thought immediately is what's this team's bullpen look like? So let's talk closers here. I'm going to give you guys, they're within 11 picks of one another, so get ready here. Devin Williams, new digs in the Bronx. He'll give you an ERA under 3 and probably give you over 30 saves. Let's call it 31 on projections. Then Josh Hader is 2 picks later, a 3.10 ERA, 33 saves. Everyone seems to forget what Hader can do. And then there's Edwin Diaz, pitching to a sub-3 ERA with nearly 40 saves. He's at 70. Out of these 3, whom you picking and why, George?
Is there anything more frustrating in fantasy than when your closer blows the save for your starting pitcher? I mean, that you got Carlos Rodon and you got Devin Williams, and Williams blows the save, and you lost the save and the win. That'll pull out what's the rest of my hair here. Josh Hader and Diaz, by the way, velocity. They both don't have it this spring training. Might not mean anything. Once again, it could be dead on, could be whatever it is, slow start, ramping up, whatever. But their velocity is both have gone down a couple of miles per hour. Diaz struggled. Remember, Diaz sort of lost a job last season in August. He got it back, but he sort of lost a job here. Hader, I said the velocity is an issue for me. What I'm trying to tell you is I'm taking Devin Williams. All right. Like I said, Diaz lost the job. His velocity's down, struggled last year. He's sort of out of this conversation for me, even though he is still a tier 1 closer for me. All right. So I still have him there. But once again, red flags, but being very careful here. Devin Williams, the one guy I'm not worried about. The Yankees are going to win their games. He's going to get a truckload of save opportunities. Be shocking if he didn't get 30, 35, even 40 saves wouldn't be out of the realm here. So give me Williams here. But all three of these guys are tier 1 for me, so I don't mind having any of them. And I have drafted, I've got Williams in a couple leagues. I got Hader in a couple of leagues as well. Don't think I have Diaz, but that's only because he went, once again, New York League. He went before I was more comfortable taking him. I don't have any issue taking a shot with him. But remember, the velocity is down for whatever reason.
I love it. And a nugget that I'm taking from here is discipline. Discipline. I don't love him enough to take him. I'm hearing George say that a lot, along with people getting shot. All right, next tier here, pick 103 and pick 125, respectively. You have Bautista from Baltimore bouncing back from injury. Will pitch to a 2.6 ERA, give you 26 saves. I think he can approach 30. Or Suarez, who is day-to-day in San Diego. Again, a good pitching staff there. 3.6 ERA, 25 saves. George, where are you going and why?
Yeah, I mentioned being cautious about Bautista. He may not start the season, may not be ready yet, and they said in April he may not go back to back. Listen, what managers say in March, I don't know if I care. He may not go back to back saves. You say that until you want that save, right? And Bautista's your best option. Also, he's out there. So what they say and what they do a little different here. Suarez, I have more worries about. Not only is that once again he's banked up as well. We're hearing noise that he could be traded. All right, San Diego, remember, new ownership there. The owner died, so we'll see what's going to happen with the team there. Maybe they move on from Suarez, and we don't know if he goes to a new team, if he'll be the closer here. So that's my way of saying I'm going to take Bautista. All right, I am a little bit, like I said, I'm cautious with him. Maybe I don't want either one guy here, and I don't have either one, I don't think, anywhere. So I'm cautious with these guys here. But if I had to choose between the two, I'm taking Bautista only because, maybe April's a little slow, but I know in May, June, July, August, September, he is the closer.
All right, talking with George Kurtz, and when we come back, we have betting advice. Yes, folks, it's here. We have early leans for the games that are coming up this week. I'm incredibly excited. We have 2 series that we can pick on. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Calm down, Matt. Okay, we'll be back after this.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today. We're having a good time. We are laughing. Matt and George with you here. Sam Y, the sports guy. TD Jake behind the glass. I want to thank the crew for an amazing show. George, you've been absolutely fantastic. So much wisdom at SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV. That's where George's wisdom lives forever. All right, George, as you know, we have baseball coming up this week, wagerable baseball. And what I want to caution everyone is be careful. If there's 20 games, don't bet on them all. Let's pick on what we already know because we know nothing. There's two series that stand out to me. Pittsburgh at Miami, Colorado at Tampa Bay. This is, I think, an early attack, George. I want to talk to you. First game, Pittsburgh at Miami, is Paul Skeens against Sandy Alcantara. I'm going to first 5 under 2.5 runs. I mean, if I'm wrong on that, so be it. The rest of the way, I'm thinking it's Pittsburgh on money lines, depending on how it goes. And Colorado at Tampa Bay, McClanahan was supposed to start. He won't. But beyond that, again, if the money lines aren't egregious, it's Tampa. If I can find some plus money on run lines, I'm going to attack it that way. What do you think of this strategy going into the first week?
Well, everybody and their mother, right, and me included, Alcantara, Skeens, we're going to be on every under we can find. All right, the Nerfy, no run first inning. I'm sure I'll be on that as well. I'm looking now at FanDuel here. They don't have any totals up, by the way. Annoying. So they're waiting before they put up. So they're waiting for the weather as well. See what it's going to be like here. Like I said, most of the Northeast games, I imagine, if we get any 8.5s, I'll be taking the under. All right, I know that's what I plan on hitting there for all the games in the Northeast here. You look at listen, I'm the Yankee fan here. Yankees are minus 164, plus 138 from Milwaukee. I'm probably taking Milwaukee. I don't know if the Yankees should be favored with Rodon over Peralta. That's pretty much an even pitching matchup there. So I'll probably take the plus money with Milwaukee there. I'm probably going the over. Once again, I say probably because I don't know what it is. It was 8.5 here, Baltimore, Toronto. In Toronto, Bam Bonks, Eflin, Barrios. I'm not impressed with either guy here. I'm going to take the over there. And, the other games here, I mean, I'm sorry, Sam, probably going to like the Philadelphia Phillies to beat your Washington Nationals there, although minus 172. I'm absolutely hate everything Nationals, by the way, other than James Wood. It's not my fantasy team, so I need James Wood to do big things here. But, we'll have some home run props as well. I know Carver and I will be talking about that Wednesday night on Carver and Lisi. We'll be going over our home run props here because Carver's a crazy home run guy, probably even a little worse than I am. But that's where I'll take home run props here. Like I said, strikeout props, going to be very careful. Even the Skeens Alcantara, I want to see what the number is here. If I get a decent number, they say, and Craig has told us, by the way, that Alcantara is not on any kind of limit here. All right, so I'm going to probably take Craig's word for it. He's not going to only go 3-4 innings here. They're not going to protect him here. And we can go for our strikeout prop because that's the game I'm keying on the most. All right, I think everything negative is going to come down from that game. You talk about Tampa Bay, Colorado. We got the gravity there. McClanahan is not pitching game 1. Right. He got the injury yesterday. That's not happening. And I wonder, Matt, that's a domino effect with this entire team. I think McClanahan was a big lift for them. I think Tampa Bay might be in a little bit of trouble.
Well, listen, the thing with Tampa also people have to realize is that they're not playing in the same ballpark anymore, and Joe Pisapia talks about that quite a bit. You're going to have some humid air there at Steinbrenner Field, so whereas you normally would play unders with Tampa, now you maybe would start to look at overs, obviously not with Colorado coming to town, but these are things that you want to think about. But just overall, I like going down the list and saying what I like, but my strategy for April is to watch, to observe, let it all play out. I know we're all itching to make those wagers, which is why I isolated these two series. If I'm going to be making wagers, I want them to be things that I feel most comfortable about. Because, George, I'm sure, as you know, the worst thing you want is to see May on the calendar and you're down and now you're chasing profits. No one wants to do that, George.
You need to be, you do need to be careful in baseball in March and most of April here for a lot of reasons here. We all know some players, offensive players, don't hit well. All right, it takes them a little while here. I mentioned Aaron Judge. Remember, he got booed in New York last year because he was a terrible April. It was awful. It was an absolute awful April. He ended up with 58 home runs. All right, he's going to be fine at the end of the year, but April could be tough here. Cold weather, ball doesn't travel. I think what Joe brings up, and you just brought up about Tampa Bay, is so true here. Steinbrenner Field is built for left-handed power. It's modeled at the Yankee Stadium. How is that? Maybe it's good for Brandon Lowe. Right? Left-handed, he might take advantage of that. That being said, the overall ballpark should be better than that Tropicana Field because Tropicana Field is a major pitcher's ballpark. Steinbrenner Field should play more towards the hitters here, something to keep an eye on. Can Tampa Bay take advantage of that? So, like I said, it's almost a learning month for us, right? We learn things in April. That's why we're careful with our bets here. As May and June, July come on, we have a better idea of what's going to happen.
All right. On behalf of everyone here at SportsGrid, we want to thank the legendary George Kurtz for lending his wisdom and his time. We hope you have all enjoyed it. We hope we've whet your appetite
Checks in the
because there's
mail,
more
Matt.
baseball betting coming up around the corner for George. I'm Matt. Happy baseball, everybody. We'll see you next time.